Hi everyone. In this video and the coming few videos, we're going to be working from Google Colab, and actually you don't have to follow. This is just some refresher on some of the Python syntax that we're going to be using, because it's not that the code that we're going to be writing in the coming videos, once we go back to AWS Jupyter Lab, is going to be super difficult, but it will have its caveats. So instead of, just hoping that all of you understand it, we're going to go through the difficult parts of it, and hopefully that way you will understand the more complicated part, which we will write once we go back to Jupyter Lab in AWS. So you don't have to follow what I'm following right now, because we're not going to need it for fine-tuning. It's just that I want you to understand the syntax. So what we're going to be talking about in this lesson is star unpacking. And essentially, it unpacks the elements of an iterable into individual items. And it's important to know that it only unpacks one level deep. So what is star unpacking? And, over here in this line, you see, for example, that we invoke this introduce function with this weird notation. We have a person info, which is this list, but we put this asterisk before it. And that's actually star unpacking. So let's first define a function that expects 3 arguments: name, age, and city. And this function takes the 3 arguments and then prints out an introduction. So it's going to print out, hello, my name is name, I am age years old and live in, whatever city we provide. Over here, we provide the information, Alice, 30 in New York. And then there's a right way and a wrong way to call this function. So if I just call introduce with the person info, which is a list, as you can see, introduce missing 2 required positional arguments, age and city. So essentially it thinks that person info is Alice, but it's also looking for 30 and New York. And so this is where star unpacking becomes helpful. So I'm going to comment this out. And if we actually call this function with our list, but before that we put this asterisk and run it, as you can see, hello, my name is Alice, I am 30 years old and live in New York. So what it did is it essentially unpacked this list. And so the input now just simply became this. Okay, Alice, 30 and New York. What's a caveat to this function is that it only unpacks one level. So if we have a nested array like so, and we run it, as you can see, we have the same issue. Okay? And I hope this makes sense. So about the star unpacking, just know that you can provide it a list and it will unpack one level deep, and it will convert it into something that is useful for us. And in Python lingo, what you need to understand is it unpacks the elements of an iterable, like a list, into individual items. Okay? So if you already knew this, then some refresher never hurts. But if you haven't, then this will help you understand what's happening in the coming videos once we get back to our AWS Jupyter Lab notebook. But for now, we're going to be continuing to stay in Google Colab. So I'm just going to run this again. So as you can see, it works now that we only have a single and not a nested array like so. So I will see you in the next video where we continue in Google Colab with some Python practice.